in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
When you look at Kelvin Benjamin, guys, he's 6'5", he's 245 pounds. He's probably a Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end.
It's not the Dallas Cowboys, but it's a start.
You love this. Whoop, and then whoop, and then whoop.
Oh, the Denver Broncos.
Now stay tuned for 6 hours of exciting football action.
Woohoo! Bears trying to cross midfield.
That's right. It's Super Bowl week. We're leading up to the Super Bowl with Adam and I right here at Straight Off the Couch. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. We actually have some breaking news for a change. Hit it.
They called him the Galloping Gazelle. His habitat the frozen tundra of Soldier Field. For 6 seasons and 2 Pro Bowls, he grazed on the tasty green turf of the end zone. Until one fateful Sunday in November, when the Gazelle was stopped in his tracks by a big cat named Wade Krzyzewski.
Want to come with me and Wally to the Super Bowl?
Oh, absolutely. My favorite team's in it. The Atlanta Falcons.
I'm exhausted.
Straight off the couch.
You know what? I'm exhausted too. It was a long season. We're here finally, the end dance, the end game, the end whatever you want to call it. I'm going to bring in my longtime friend and broadcast partner, the always affable and effervescent Adam Weidel. Adam, how are you today, brother?
Oh, Terry, I am super excited for the Super Bowl. I don't know about yourself. It's a bittersweet time of year for me.
We're recording on Sunday when we usually record on Monday or Tuesday, depending on what's going on. And I when I made the suggestion to you, my first thought was this is going to help me break up the sadness of the season being over, recording on Sunday.
So what I have going on right now is we are doing this podcast. I have the Pro Bowl games on the TV on mute, just because the commentators suck on these ESPN Pro Bowls, and just to see a guy throw a ball around. That's it. That's all I'm. I don't even really care who wins or anything. I just want to see a ball fly through the air. That's it.
I get it, dude. I get it. And after next week, man, we're going to have some shows. We're still talking about how we're going to do it and what we're going to do. But, we're going to continue with the shows, and there's still going to be NFL-centric shows, but we may wander into other stuff as things grow on and go forward, you know.
Absolutely. As the off-season happens, there's not a ton of wonderfully exciting things to talk about. There's a coaching carousel that's, continually happening. A lot of teams will hire and fire coordinators going into the new season, and then
Speaking of which, it looked like Luke Getsy is going to be picked up by the Raiders.
That's what I don't know. That's such a Raiders thing to do, but okay.
Did they not watch Bears film at all?
Speaking of the Raiders have their new Allegiant Stadium where the Super Bowl will be held. And if you guys are new here, this is actually going to be the definitive straight off the couch guide to Super Bowl 58 for those fair weather fans that just like to go to Super Bowl parties and ask questions like, who's playing in the Super Bowl this year? I'm going just for the food or whatever. You don't have to be a football fan like us. But you should know a couple things.
Just watch the commercials. Just watch the commercials. You'll be okay just watching the commercials. And, the halftime show is always, well, it's a halftime show.
The halftime show is probably more scripted than the NFL. Oh,
I just when I want football, I want football, and when I want a show, I want a show, and I don't want the two intermingling.
Well, the halftime show at the Super Bowl is the longest break that you get for a halftime in the entire season because it takes a long time to put up the stage and tear it down.
Yeah. Normally it's 20 minutes. First half, second half. There's 20 minutes in between them. More normal than a normal week. Adam just froze up. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
No, you just came back.
Am I broken?
You just froze up a little bit. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's this damn TV that's robbing bandwidth.
Oh, you got that good Canadian internet stuff, don't you? You probably got like 200 megs down.
That's all right. We just shut it off. Hopefully it doesn't interfere with our feed.
But back to the conversation. So whatever you want to watch for the Super Bowl, you watch for the Super Bowl. But the best halftime show, in my opinion, was in 2005 when it was Prince. Every other halftime show is paled by comparison.
I will not disagree with you on that. I think Prince was the best halftime show they've ever had.
And I think it might be too late now because he's a little over the hill. I think the league missed out not having Weird Al Yankovic do at least one halftime show.
I still think he's got it. He's still doing shows around here.
Him doing the halftime show, I think, would be the epitome of ludicrous, and he would so lean into the stupidity because that's what he does. That's his milieu.
He's still doing the casino circuit here.
God bless him. God bless him, man.
Yeah, there's a casino about 35, 40 minutes from me, and he's there about once a year. So
if you can't get Weird Al, let's go with Richard Cheese. Let's get down with some cheese.
we
get
get Richard Cheese out there.
That'd be great.
Little lounge singing to some death metal and stuff. Yeah. He does everything.
Yeah. So the coaches carousel for this year, what's going on is the music has stopped, and there are a couple people without chairs, and there are a couple of big name people without chairs. Belichick and Vrabel did not get hired for head coaching positions during this shuffle, this annual shuffle the NFL has.
And we're not done yet.
Well, I think Vrabel's ego is such that he could take a coordinator position with somebody and be okay, just like a 2-year contract and get him back under his feet and then get another head coaching job. Belichick's no way going to take up a coordinator position.
I don't think either of them need to work because they were still under they still had 1 year on their term when they got canned.
They're getting paid, right? Yeah,
they're getting paid regardless.
Right. I did hear one interesting theory that that Belichick would be hired by the Raiders to be the defensive coordinator and co-head coach. And I thought, I don't picture or was it the Cowboys? Maybe it was the Cowboys. But
it wasn't the Raiders. The Raiders are doing their own thing with Antonio Pierce. But yeah, Belichick he's still in the Jerry Jones might talk to Bill. And there's a lot of rumors out there.
Yeah, there are. And that's all there are is rumors. Here's the way it fell down, boys and girls. The Atlanta Falcons hired Raheem Morris, the former Rams defensive coordinator. The Carolina Panthers picked up Dave Canellis, the former Buccaneers offensive coordinator, which is going to be a big shock for our boy Baker. We might need to get him a little juice box. And
Baker actually talked about that when he won on Thursday night the precision throwing competition at the Pro Bowl, and they were interviewing him, and he said, "Yeah, we're going to miss Canellis. That's a big hole for us."
Yeah.
And they were very excited about the rest of the coordinators and everybody else staying. But they were really sad about Dave leaving.
We might have to get Baker a juice roll up.
And some Chips Ahoy or something, keep him happy.
Yeah. Los Angeles Chargers went with former Michigan Wolverines head coach Jim Harbaugh back in the league, and all he's ever done anywhere is win. So that's going to be fun to watch what's going to happen up there. You've got a transcendent talent at quarterback, and you have a lot of the pieces, but you haven't been able to make them work well together. I think Harbaugh will be able to move that team forward a little bit. The Vegas Raiders went with Antonio Pierce, their interim head coach, because he did such a great job, and all the players basically said, if you don't, we're going to look for jobs elsewhere. New England Patriots went with their linebackers coach Jared Mayo. Tennessee Titans went with Brian Callahan, the Bengals offensive coordinator, who did a really great job with Joe Cool, so that's going to be fun to watch. Seattle Seahawks went with Mike McDonald, the former Ravens coordinator. Defensive coordinator. That's going to hurt the Ravens more than it's going to help Seattle, I think. And last but not least, the Washington football team went with Dan Quinn, former Cowboys defensive coordinator, to be their head coach in the 2024 campaign.
Yeah, I don't think we're done yet. I like a lot of the watching this develop, and we go into the next season, and then you and I are going to talk about this come August, September a lot.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about a couple things over the next couple of weeks because we're going to keep the show going. We've got a couple different topics that we're going to talk about, but let's talk about this big Super Bowl. It's a kind of our Super Bowl for dummies. And it's Super Bowl week, so there's a couple other kind of side things going on that lead up to this big game.
And one of them is breaking news. It just came across my newswire as Adam and I were getting ready to record. I sent it over to him. This is from the UK Daily Mail sports page. Breaking headline: Patrick Mahomes' father, 53, is arrested for DWI in Texas in at least the third time the former baseball star has been picked up by cops just a week before his son's Super Bowl game. Patrick Mahomes Sr. has been arrested for drinking while intoxicated just a week before his son's fourth Super Bowl appearance. The Kansas City Chiefs quarterback's 53-year-old father was arrested for his third DWI or more on Saturday night in Tyler, Texas.
Or more.
His bond is reportedly expected to be set later today. Mahomes Sr., who is a former professional baseball pitcher, is being held at the Smith County Jail. The Chiefs are currently gearing up for their Super Bowl showdown against the San Francisco 49ers on February 11th in Las Vegas, Nevada. Mahomes Sr. has had his second DUI charge in 2018 where he pled guilty and was sentenced to 40 days in the county jail. Just days ago, the father came to the defense of his quarterback son after he faced online criticism for his physique. He's at the gym all the time, the former MLB pitcher said, who has had stints with the New York Mets and Pittsburgh Pirates, among other teams, he told CNN. He works out at least 3 times a week. Well, I would hope so. He's a professional athlete. He's just unfortunate that he got that from me. That's in his DNA. We don't get the muscles like DK Metcalf and some of the guys that are built like rocks and statues. We just got this natural dad bod. But hey, we're representing. When asked his thoughts on the excitement around the Chiefs and Taylor Swift, with whom he shared a suite once ahead of Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas next week, Mahomes Sr. said, well, it's exciting. I mean, Taylor has always been very, very nice and pleasant to me. You know what? Side note, she comes across as a genuine nice person. I would never think ill of her as a person. Back to the story. I was in the box with her on only one of the games. I went over and seen her after games and stuff like that, but she's always pleasant. But that's the buzz around the Chief is real, man. It's real. I mean, anytime you can go to the Super Bowl as many times as they have, it's not just Patrick, it's the whole team, you know? Every supporting team, their goal is to get to that final game, and we've been fortunate enough to get back now 4 times, and hopefully we can finish it off right this time, according to Mahomes Sr.
Yeah, I find it funny that they're interviewing him, and it's just like, oh, yeah, of course he's going to say wonderful things about the Chiefs and his son.
Yeah, what's he going to do?
Well, like, what's he going to say, right? Like, oh, hang on, I got to let you go. I got Johnny Cochran on the line. We're dealing with something right now.
Yeah, he's a former professional athlete. He knows the drill. You don't break bad on the team your kid plays for.
Yeah, so I don't get the whole. Every Chiefs fan, player, everybody's going to be like, yeah, it's the Chiefs.
Right.
And I have to agree with them. The Chiefs have done some amazing things over the course of the last 6-7 years.
Since they drafted Mahomes, yeah. I mean, since
Mahomes became a starter.
They were consistently in the playoffs before that, though. They were just one of those teams that was perennially, a wild card, divisional game team, but Mahomes just gave him that little Mahomes and Andy Reid just gave him that little extra bump to get over the hump and start winning some championships. And as much as I hate to say it, good for them. I mean, I'd like to see other teams in the Super Bowl, but when you're doing something right, you're doing something right.
So some fun facts about this Super Bowl. Chiefs and 49ers, if you've been living under a rock, which I'm sure most of you know who's playing by now. Chiefs and 49ers, this will be the 8th time that 2 of the same teams have played each other in a Super Bowl. So there's 58 Super Bowls. This will only be the 8th time that 2 of the same teams have played each other. Both teams met in Super Bowl 54. That was in 2020. And coincidentally, it was also a leap year.
And that was
one
of the lowest scoring Super Bowls of all time, too.
Also, they will be wearing the same color jerseys that they wore in that Super Bowl.
Well, and this one, which is kind of odd, the Raiders and the Chiefs are in the same division. They hate each other. There's a lot of bad blood between these two teams, and they had to turn their entire brand new facility over to the Chiefs for the entire week. The Chiefs are going to be in every corner of every room in the Raiders' home, and that's got to irk somebody. Somebody's haunches are up and they're rankled and they're sore and their butt hurt because the Chiefs are all over their facility. And I wouldn't be surprised if Travis Kelce's in the corner rubbing something on the wall just to mark his territory, you know.
So a funny thing about Allegiant Stadium, which is was built for the Las Vegas Raiders, it's a $2 billion build. It was named the Super Bowl 58 home in 2021.
Probably before it was finished in construction, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Before it was finished, it became the next Super Bowl on the schedule. They have something really interesting because it's Vegas, baby, right?
Right, yeah.
They have basically like a DJ booth and I don't even know what they would call them. They have like MVP kind of sectionals in one end zone.
Oh, like reserved seating?
Yeah, it's like bottle service area. Like it's really weird. It's like a whole kind of Las Vegas club vibe.
At Guaranteed Rate Field, aka US Cellular, aka Comiskey, there's an area like that every season, and I usually try and go up to a couple games every year because I like the White Sox and it's such a nice atmosphere. But that's really nice, man. You go to your seat and there's an app on your phone, and you order stuff, and they bring it to you, and you don't have to get up if you don't want to. You can sit for the entire 9 innings, which is fantastic.
Yeah, this is kind of it's just one end zone. It's got a DJ booth with, I think, 5 or 6 kind of bottle service kind of suites.
Yeah, well,
around the DJ booth, and Tiesto will be DJ.
Yeah, which when I found that, I remember sending it to you when we were having the conversation. He, as you pointed out, he's a DJ when it's convenient to be a DJ. Other times, no, I'm not a DJ. I'm a producer. I hate
play other people's music.
I hate those fucking dudes, man. That is my biggest pet peeve because I've been in the business, the DJ business, since '83.
That's a long time.
And those people who I'm not a DJ, I'm a producer. Then why the fuck are you working in this corner bar? You're not a producer. You know, you're a DJ. You're press and play on somebody else's music. You're not an artist. You're a business person. Just admit it and move on.
So another thing about this game, it is the first time that Vegas has hosted a Super Bowl, but out of 58 Super Bowls, it's only the 19th city to host a Super Bowl.
They try and go for warmer climates, and if it is a northern one, like when they had it in Detroit a few years ago, it has to be a dome. They're not going to do an outside. The one time they tried doing outside natural in a northern city, I want to say it was for the where the Giants and the Jets play, 6 years ago, I think it was. And
oh yeah.
And the league was miserable because if you remember right, it was sub-zero temperatures, and they don't want that for the Super Bowl. They want it to be a party. They want it to be fun. So
it's Jersey.
It's and you're playing football in February in Jersey. It's going to be cold. It's going to be wet. It's going to be snowy, and yeah. So the league basically said we're never doing a northern outdoor venue again.
And that's kind of shocking. Why Buffalo decided to go with another? They're getting a new build. Why would they go with an outdoor stadium? And I know they get that. That's their whole vibe is like snowball fights and bad weather and everything. But
throwing snowballs.
You're never gonna host a Super Bowl there.
Throwing snowballs at Patrick Mahomes after you lose in the playoffs. Yeah.
And I think that's the NFL, and being a team in the NFL is definitely a business, and you need to bring in some tourist money through a Super Bowl to help pay for your new stadium.
Absolutely. And that's the thing about those is they're all corporate sponsored. So you want people to see all those corporate advertisements, and they're not going to see it if they're not in the building,
So let's break it down for the people that have not that don't know a lot about football. This is going to be the Chiefs and 49ers second time meeting each other in a Super Bowl. Last time it was 4 years ago. The Chiefs did come from behind from, I believe it was a 13-point deficit. I don't have the stat in front of me to overcome and beat the 49ers. The money line on this one, so the over-under is 46.5 points. So that's meaning that between the two teams, 46 or 47 points will be scored in this game, and you take either the under. You want under 46.5 points, or over. You want 47 or better.
And that's total points, boys and girls.
That's
both
total
teams.
points, not per team.
Yeah, that's both teams.
The last time these guys met in the regular season was October of 2022. The Chiefs went to San Francisco and beat them 44-23.
Yeah, that's it. Are we at the point with predictions? Because I know I'm really conflicted on this, Adam. I'm going to admit being conflicted.
So it's Super Bowl, so there's not really a favorite. They don't the gambling sites don't really mark a favorite. There's always a slight edge.
Right, there has to be, because of the nature.
And
of the
currently, it's like the 49ers by 3/4 of a point, which is silly.
Yeah,
like
that's just making sure you either win or lose the bet. That's all that is.
Yeah, it's like make it a 1.5 or something, but like a 3/4 of a point. It's just because of the money odds. So you're basically getting 1-to-1 depending on who you bet on. Another fun fact. 8 championship teams have defended their titles. So that means they have won one year and defended it and won back-to-back the second year. The Chiefs have the opportunity to do that to make it 9 champs. Last team to do it is the 03-04 Patriots.
So off the top of my head, teams have done it. Niners, Patriots, Dallas, Pittsburgh, Denver.
You've got it.
I can't for the life of me remember any more than those 5.
San Francisco.
I got those. I got the Niners.
Did you put Niners in there?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Joe Montana? Yeah, they were force, man. And I got Dallas under Troy Aikman.
Yeah, Dallas against Buffalo twice.
Yeah. And then Pittsburgh when Bradshaw was the quarterback. Matter of fact, I went to high school with a guy. I should try and get him on the show one week with us. Ted Peterson, good old number 66 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, was Terry Bradshaw's pulling guard.
That's right. We've had that conversation.
Yeah. So I should try and get Ted on the show. He's a fun guy to talk to.
Yeah. So this Super Bowl is all about the number 8 for some reason. 8 champs have defended their titles. 8 Super Bowl appearance for the 49ers. 8th time that 2 teams have played each other in a Super Bowl. That 2 of the same teams. So a lot of 8s. Maybe I got to change some of my props. Also, 49ers are 8th overall in defense. So, yeah, here we go, 8s again.
I thought they were higher ranked than that.
No. Oh, for the season, we had the 49ers were the 2nd overall offense versus the Chiefs' 9th overall. Defenses were 8th for the Niners, 2nd for the Chiefs. Niners are 4th in passing. Chiefs are 6th, which is kind of a shock. Well, it's not a shock for us who watched the season, but knowing that Patrick Mahomes is under center, 6 seems really low.
Yeah, they went through that rough patch when they were in the middle of the season, the Chiefs did, and that really hurt their numbers.
That rough patch did not happen in the playoffs. They came on hard.
No, and I was watching one of the guys I like to watch, Rich Eisen, and when they were going through that rough patch, Rich goes, I'm not taking sides here, but my advice to teams would be not let them get in the playoffs. Do anything you can to keep them out of the playoffs.
Another stat that is kind of hard to believe is 49ers are 3rd in rushing. That's easily believable with Christian McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
And Debo, he's a good runner as well. And the Chiefs were 19th in rushing, which we're going, huh? But this is regular season stats, right. And Pacheco really has come on in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's come on just basically since the middle of December. What's cool about Christian McCaffrey and Debo Samuel, they use both those guys in almost exactly the same way, but they give them different looks because they can both catch out of the backfield too. So you'll see McCaffrey wind up as a wideout sometimes, and you'll see Debo in the backfield. And it's just
they're interchangeable players. They're like, I thought Debo was a running back for the longest time. The number of times that he had carried the ball from the backfield, and then it's like Debo Samuel, wide receiver, huh?
Yeah,
wide receiver.
And the Niners are one of the few teams in the league that uses an actual fullback too. They have a guy at its position, Juszczyk, who's a fullback. You know.
So funny about Kyle Juszczyk. when they're in San Francisco, you'll hear the crowd booing when he catches the ball, but they're not booing. They're going, you. And it sounds like booing. His wife actually has a clothing company, and she signed a contract.
Yeah, I saw that. She signed a contract with, I think the NFL, their apparel.
32 team logos and the NFL shield on her clothing line because she was the one that made the 87 coat for Taylor Swift.
For Tay-Tay. Come on. She's the high school girl whose boyfriend's on the team, so she's going to wear his jacket around and look cool. And she's like the cheerleader who's dating the captain of the football team. Leave those kids alone.
But Juszczyk's wife is she's making some high-end NFL clothing, and she's got the licensing deal with the NFL now. So good luck to the Juszczyks in their future because that coat was pretty cool. I'll be honest.
God bless
nice
her.
Puffy coat.
Yeah, God bless her. And you just keep writing those cashing those checks because they're going to keep writing them. As long as they keep writing them, you go ahead and keep cashing them.
So now I guess we have to talk about things to look out for in this game.
My one little piece of advice for the football uninitiated but want to look like they know what they're talking about. If you see somebody go in motion and a defensive member follows them, that's man coverage.
Oh yeah, they'll talk about that quite a bit.
Yeah, and you can just watching that one little thing, and you can just lean over to your significant other and go, look, they're in man coverage, and your spouse is going to go, wow, they picked up a lot of football from me, aren't I cool?
Yeah, a lot of teams will just run a guy in the backfield to determine what the defensive coverage is if they're playing man or zone. Man is when basically everybody covers one guy. Zone is when you're responsible for a certain part of the field.
You'll see them drop back in coverage and hit. They call it like hitting a landmark, but you won't see them scrambling all over the field until the ball is released from the quarterback's hand. So they fall back into coverage, they hit their landmark, and they cover their area of responsibility.
So I guess the things to look out for on the Chiefs side, like what are you, if you had a friend that didn't know anything about football and was coming to your Super Bowl party, what would be the things that you'd tell them to watch for on the Chiefs side?
How many times they're going to show Taylor Swift?
Well, no, that's a prop bet, but like football-wise.
Somebody who's unaware, I would encourage them to watch the wide receivers because let's face it, when the ball's in the air and the wide receivers are fighting for a pass, it's fun to watch. That's some of the best part of football is watching that. I would tell them to keep an eye on who has the ball because that's where the action is going to be 9 times out of 10. You're not going to want to get into things like where the safeties are playing deep or shallow or offensive and defensive line play. I wouldn't want to confuse them with that, But yeah, just keep your eye on the ball and move on from there. I think is how I would handle it.
Yeah, I think the things to watch if you've never seen a football game before and this is your first football game, players-wise to watch is Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, and they'll talk about how magical he is. He's a fantastic player. He can buy a lot of time and make plays happen that weren't even there. The other player on the defensive side of the ball is Chris Jones. He could really change a game.
Yeah, that's true. On the defensive side for the Chiefs, yeah, Chris Jones can he's a game wrecker.
Other than that, there's a lot of complementary players that can make a lot of plays for the Chiefs. You've got obviously Travis Kelce, who has broken a lot of playoff records. Isaiah Pacheco, who's the running back for the Chiefs. He should be probably running the ball quite a bit because in playoff games, defenses and running the ball tend to win the games. So you should be looking out for a lot more running than passing, I think. Passing comes into play when a team's more behind, I believe.
It depends on the team, but yeah, you'll see them pass more when they are trailing because they got to make up.
If you've got a good running game, you're going to run the ball more.
Right. That's just the way the nature of the beast. Right. But
now on the San Francisco side, what would you suggest for your newbie friend, your newbie football friend to look out for there?
Watch them on defense. They are frightening on defense.
More so than the Ravens, to be honest. We thought the Ravens were the scariest defense in the league, but they've got a lot of good pieces in San Francisco.
And they play angry. The San Francisco 49ers defense plays angry. Their safeties and linebackers, if somebody does happen to get to that second level, they punish them for making it that far. It's not easy.
Yeah, so player-wise, who I would say to watch out for, and this is a really hard one to tell a new person who to look for on San Francisco. Things that you should know is Brock Purdy, who's the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, was drafted last season and was drafted last. The last guy picked in the draft.
The nickname for that guy is always Mr. Irrelevant because he usually doesn't amount to much. In this case, he is. So
he's definitely Mr. Relevant at this point.
Yeah.
He did have a chance to go to the Super Bowl last year, but got injured in the NFC championship game, and they just kind of unraveled without him.
Well, they didn't have they were by that point they were on their fourth starter for the season. They went through quarterbacks.
They went through quarterbacks like crazy, but they did have a lot of injury problems with their skill positions, wide receivers, running backs, that sort of thing. McCaffrey was surprisingly the only one that stayed healthy on that team.
But even he can only do so much. And as a matter of fact, I think after Purdy got hurt, I think they had to. I think Christian actually took 2 or 3 snaps as quarterback.
Yeah, he played the whole Taysom Hill sort of
because they didn't know what else to do at that time.
Yeah, he took direct snaps. It was a hard game to watch for sure, but that's last year. This year, they're in the Super Bowl, so we get to see the first time Brock Purdy's going to a Super Bowl. He's an interesting player. He's been criticized as being not the most dynamic quarterback, a game manager, a lot of things, but there's a lot of great pieces on that 49ers team.
He did the best he could to dispel those labels.
Yeah,
last
he
week,
did.
He
did, and he's done an amazing job. I don't think they beat the Lions if it wasn't for Brock Purdy's legs last week.
No, he did what we were expecting Lamar Jackson to do.
Yeah, exactly. And so other players to watch on the offensive side of the ball, you're going to hear about Deebo Samuel. You're going to hear about Christian McCaffrey, who's just a beast. Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle.
Kitty.
Yeah.
He's from the Chicago area. He grew up a Bears
fan. Of course,
fan,
Kyle Juszczyk. All like that makes up their skill positions on offense, and every one of those guys gets to touch the ball, and they all have a unique way of doing things. They work really very well together. And then on the defensive side of the ball, like you've got Fred Warner, you've got Nick Bosa, like so many really crazy defensive players.
One of the things to watch with Nick Bosa, he's so good and has so much talent. They'll move him around on the defensive lines. That's something fun to watch if you're.
Yeah, he's on the left side. He's on the right side. He's in the center. Like you never know where the guy is.
So that's fun to watch if you're new to football. Just where they're going to line him up and see how they try and defend him, because he's one of those guys you have to account for where he's at every snap.
Yeah, he's just an amazing defensive player. So they have a lot of key pieces on San Francisco, but the Chiefs aren't shabby either. As we said, we talked about those guys. Keys for this game, for me, are going to be the Chiefs' defense. I really don't think, even though the Chiefs' offense is starting to come alive, they've only really got that Pacheco run. And then they've got Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce catching balls from Mahomes. Other than that, their offense is still kind of stagnant. They're not like the Chiefs from years previous where Patrick could throw a ball to 17 different weapons.
Right. A lot of those, because of the cap situation, they had to say goodbye to some of those players, and that's the way the NFL works, boys and girls. If somebody gets really good, but the teams only have so much money to spend, and they have to let good players go, and they often wind up on other teams, and that's fun to watch how they like one of the guys they let go wound up with the Miami Dolphins, and he lit it up for the Miami Dolphins this year. So
Yeah, he almost did the whole 2,000 yards thing too. If he
Yeah.
didn't get injured and have a couple games off, I think he would have done it.
yeah, I agree.
So the keys to this game for me are Chiefs defense. If the Chiefs defense can hold and they can get in the San Francisco's offense's face, especially their quarterback, putting pressure on him, the Chiefs can easily win this game.
Well, and that was what I thought last week. Detroit did get to Purdy, and he still managed to beat him. So
Yeah, but the Lions defense is not the Chiefs defense.
No, it
the
is
Lions, The Lions have a real hard problem with open field tackling, and the Chiefs do not.
that's true. That's true. There's a lot of bad arm tackles from the Lions, and we're not going to see that from the Chiefs. They're really good open field tacklers.
And I mean that's going to be a huge key to the game. So if the Chiefs can defensively put pressure on San Francisco, the Chiefs can easily win this game. Now, where is San Francisco's strength going to be? Now, San Francisco can put a lot of pressure on Mahomes. I don't know if you remember the Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl win.
Right.
The way they won that game is that the stud defense that Tampa Bay had that year had like a stat of negative 85 running yards for the Chiefs because they had Patrick Mahomes going 10 yards backwards every play.
Yeah. They put a lot of pressure on him. A lot of pressure on him.
And that's the way San Francisco can win this game as well, is on defense. If their defense makes a stand, San Francisco has the better offense. Both
true.
offense and defense will feed off each other. If the defense makes a stand, the offense will come out and make points.
That's true. They do feed off each other pretty well. They pick up there's not a lot of discontinuity between the two other than the fact they're doing different jobs.
I can't say the same for the Chiefs. The Chiefs have put points on the board early and have just said, you know what? We don't need any more points. We're winning. We're going to just let it rest in our defense's hands. And I think that's a huge mistake.
I do too. But that's
especially with a team like San Francisco.
Yeah.
They proved it last week when they were getting killed by the Lions 24-7.
Yeah. It'll be fun to watch how it breaks down and who's doing what. But I agree with all your assessments. There's nothing I would really add to it. I think you've broken it down pretty well.
Okay, so who's your pick and what's your score? We're going to do this because we don't usually do scores. But I think this is our last kick at the can. I usually go Chiefs over, San Francisco over. Yeah. I want to know who's your pick and what's the score going to be.
Okay, my heart, who I want to win, I want to see the Niners win.
Yeah, I think a lot of people want that. I think a lot of people don't want either team to win.
Well, that's true. But if somebody put a gun to my head, you got to choose one. Okay, and I've got a lot of friends who are Niners fans, and I know how devastated they would be, and I love my friends, and I don't want to see them be. But that's my heart. That's my heart. My head, my brain box, my thinker box. I'm going Chiefs 24, Niners 21.
Wow. I gotta write that down. Gotta put that in my notes, Terry.
That's what my thinker box is telling me. Because I mean, I hate to say it, but Patrick Mahomes in a must-win game. It's hard not to say yeah.
In Las Vegas, See, I've got so many thoughts going through my head, and it's not one of those on-the-spot situations. Okay, so Kansas City, as we discussed before, is a divisional rival to the stadium that they're going to be.
Yes, and that's not.
Chiefs win it. Oh, that'd be like having Dookie at center field and then just walking away.
Yeah.
They're just marking their territory.
Yeah,
for next season.
Yeah, you know what? We're gonna have to burn this grass.
Yeah, well, they'll just send it outside. Isn't that the stadium that it rolls outside to get sun?
I think that's Arizona.
maybe it's Arizona. I can't remember which.
I think it's
field
Arizona.
it is,
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah,
so
we're gonna have to burn this field. We can leave the walls up on the outside of the stadium, but everything else has to
go. So you're taking Kansas City 24-21. That's going to put you at the under. Kansas City under, eh? All right, I'm scoring this one, and man, I'm not too far off from you.
No,
for points.
But you're going the other way.
I'm going the other way because San Francisco's had nothing but heartbreak for
a long time.
The same number of years that Kansas City's been hot.
Yeah.
And I think this is a revenge game for them. I think Kyle Shanahan, the coach of the San Francisco 49ers, is still pretty upset about his not his last Super Bowl appearance, but the one previous to it where his team was up 28-3.
And they blew it, yeah.
He was the offensive coordinator.
Can we I don't want to say take out a bounty because then we're going to get talked to by some security force somewhere. But can we fix Kyle Shanahan's fucking hat? How old are you?
Oh, you don't like the thug life?
The straight brim? No.
The flat peak?
Bend to that fucker, man. What the fuck do you
I don't know. I think it makes his ears pop out a lot more when it's straight. It's kind of funny. He does look like he's maybe
12,
19 or something, and he just got his first Honda Civic that's, got a body kit on it.
It's been lowered and it's got a straight pipe.
Yeah. It's got a big fart can on the back of it. Yeah. So you went Kansas City 24, San Francisco 21. I'm going San Francisco 27, Chiefs 21. So I'm taking the opposite of you for the over. And you're the under,
and you're going with 3 more points than me.
Yes,
So you're saying that the Niners are going to win by 2 field goals.
So it's either going to be 2 field goals, or a field goal and a missed extra point.
Yeah, and I don't know
because Moody gets shaken now. I thought he was like ice cold, stone cold killer. But
did you read?
I saw him miss a couple.
Did you read the news story yesterday on CBS Sports?
No.
CBS Sports has installed 6 cameras on the bars for the end zones.
For the Super Bowl,
because they want to get a picture of the balls coming at. And they would love to have somebody hidden upright just to have the camera pick that up and pick up the dunk in real time.
So that's funny that you mentioned that. There was one game, and I can't remember who was playing, but it wasn't too many weeks ago. Somebody hit the upright, and it sounded like a gunshot went off.
It was the Bills. It was in the Bills game.
So that's the day that I found out that they put microphones on the top of the posts
to pick up the noise,
to pick up crowd noise, and somebody hit the mic. That's got to be a 1 in a million shot to hit the mic.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. So they'll have mics and 6 different cameras so that we can see all the different angles of the ball.
Did you see our mutual friend MP3 Rick, who we both love dearly? Did you see his rant about kickers a couple weeks ago on the Book of Face?
On the Book of Faces?
Yeah.
I did pick that up, yes. Him and I recently just became friends again, which social media is a complete desolate wasteland to me. I had my account compromised and had to create a new account.
Yeah, Facebook treated you like a prisoner, like a brand new guy at Stateville, and it was a gang rape. They just took your virginity and ruined everything.
Yeah, they were just they had no cares for me at all. They were just like, yeah, whatever. We have your data. Bye.
Yeah, that was rough. But and I actually
so I forgot about half the people that I had connections with because it was just like I was just trying to get all my basic stuff back.
Right. Yeah.
And then I saw him comment on one of your posts about me. He's like, "Oh, he just disappeared," and I was just like, "Oh man."
Yeah. But
I let a friend down.
So I
so we're friends again. So I caught up on all his football rants, which was kind of fun to see because I did miss them.
Yeah, and it was funny because he was, you've got one job, you got one fucking job, and I was like, Rick, man, the league is doing everything in its power to make that job really difficult. They don't want it to be automatic anymore.
No, they make it harder and harder every year.
And Rick's like, nah, I don't care, you're getting paid, which I love Rick, but total boomer statement.
So now that we've talked about the actual game itself, I think the more important stuff for the actual Super Bowl is it's not actually the game itself. It's the game for guys like you and me, but for everybody else, we have a couple extra things. The halftime show.
I don't even know who it is this year.
It's Usher.
Usher.
Yeah.
How many?
Boop, boop,
Now,
boop, boop.
now, how many other hip hop stars are going to try to cram on stage with them this year? Is there?
That is a prop bet.
Is it? Yay! It's a prop bet.
Yeah. So yes, and it is a guess. It's how many? How many?
I'm 6.
I have the line at 6.5.
Because it'll be Usher and there'll be 50 Cent up there and J-Lo or somebody, and
so I have a half line because there's one
Megan Thee Stallion or somebody. They're going to squeeze as many hip hop stars as they can up on that stage.
There's one very specific guy.
You thinking? Yeah, are you thinking
Eminem? That I'm thinking is going to appear.
Eminem.
Lil Jon.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have Little John and then 6.5 special guests.
And Tiesto doing a remix live.
He's just the in-game DJ, so he's actually going to be spinning tunes between.
Yeah, when they're doing commercial breaks. When they're doing commercial breaks and stuff.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. Crazy.
Which is kind of disappointing because he's a solid mixer, but what are you going to do in 2 minutes?
He's just gonna do like a 4-song mashup, like bam, bam, bam.
Yeah. Either that.
He's probably got it all figured out. It's probably pre-recorded, and he just turns the highs and lows up.
I was just gonna say that it's already in the can. All he's got to do is push the buttons.
Yeah, and he's got to just twist the knobs so he looks like a DJ.
Right.
Throw one hand up in the air and just get
his new Pioneer DDDJX937620 is not even plugged in anything. It's just
it's just plugged in so that you can see the lights turn around and stuff, but there's actually no cords going into it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That happens.
Just a power cord.
That happens a lot, boys and girls. If you ever see a DJ at a big event where there's tens of thousands of people in the crowd, he's not doing anything live.
So that is the one prop bet for the halftime show that I have. I do have other prop bets for the game, but there's another thing that happens every year at the Super Bowl that a lot of people tend to forget about, but you and I both love this event because we're very fond of the canines.
Oh,
it's the Puppy Bowl.
You cannot make this a vibe story. This is a standalone story, sir. The Puppy Bowl.
Okay.
The Puppy Bowl is fantastic. For you, the common listener who might not be aware of it, on the Animal Planet and on Discovery, Discovery has several stations. So the Animal Planet station every year has counter programming, and it's the Puppy Bowl. On Sunday, February 11th, these puppies can't wait to show off their moves on the field for Puppy Bowl 20. Woo!
XX.
Here's the 2024 full player lineup from Team Rough to Team Fluff. Plus, 16 starting lineup players competing for the title of the most popular in the popularity playoffs.
The popularity
playoffs. This Puppy Bowl will be the biggest, featuring 131 puppies from 73 shelters and rescues across 36 states and territories, including the all-time smallest pup, Sweet Pea, at 1.7 pounds, and the biggest, Levi the Great Dane, at 70.
Seems like a small Great Dane, to be honest.
It does. Will Team Rough or Team Fluff win the Lombardi Trophy?
The Lombardi.
You can watch this feel-good sports event Sunday, February 11th at 2 p.m. on Animal Planet. And some of the players, you have Bark Purdy.
Okay, so if you're not a football fan, that is a knockoff of Brock Purdy, the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers.
You have a Shar-Pei called Cronut, a Border Collie named Stryker. You have Harvey the Pug. What a great name for a pug, Harvey. You have Vanessa, a wired short-hair Yorkshire Terrier mix. He's got a really good face. You have Francine, who is another pug.
That looks like he's got cross-eyeds going the opposite ways.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's adorable, but it's kind of like very derpy looking.
You have your Shepherd Poodle mix, Guy Ferrari.
That's my pick right there, Guy Ferrari.
Guy Ferrari. You have Moose, the Australian sheepdog mix. Those are active animals. He's probably gonna be the one running back and forth, giving the other dogs grief. You have my personal favorite, the Dachshund Bigent.
Oh yeah, you like those wiener dogs, right?
I like the Dachshunds, yeah. But then again, you have a Papillon mix, Mr. Bean, who's just got he's got the happiest face ever.
Yeah, he's like always panting kind of look on him, and I think we'll drop this link in the description of this episode so people can check out the puppy bowl and all the puppies because they're adorable.
They really are, and I'm a dog person, so I love it. You have a poodle.
Yeah, same.
You have a poodle named Lady Luck. You have Linus, the hound mix. Linus has got a great face, man.
And another NFL knockoff dog.
Another hound mix, Patrick Mabones.
That one makes me laugh.
You have Sonny the Chihuahua miniature Schnauzer mix. I'm thinking he's a running back or a wide receiver.
Yeah, there you go.
He's small. He's got speed on his size.
He looks fast.
You got Fred the Terrier mix.
I love how some of them are just like Sonny, Fred, and then you get like Patrick Mabones.
You've got Levi the Great Dane. Levi, 70 pounds is small for the Great Dane. Look at this picture. I think he might only be 9 or 10 months old. He doesn't look like
he's not a very big dog. Yeah. He definitely looks like he's awkward. He's got that awkward like
gangly.
I'm kind of a year. I haven't really reached that 18 months.
Yeah.
Kind of look.
Yep. And you have Wilson, the West Highland White Terrier. You have Agatha, another Dachshund Shih Tzu mix. We have Sweet Pea.
That's the smallest one. That's the 1.7 pound dog.
Oh my God. What a cute little dog, man. You have Angus, an Australian Shepherd Akita mix.
That's a cute dog.
You have Hannah. Look at Hannah, man. Hannah's got a good look going there, man.
Like the ears.
You have Team Rough Niner, a Chihuahua Poodle mix.
Just Niner.
Niner.
I wonder what team Niner wants to win.
Yeah.
A Chihuahua doesn't even look like a Chihuahua Poodle mix, to be honest.
He doesn't.
It looks more like a Labrador or something.
It looks like a beagle to me, like one of the
maybe
like a light colored beagle. And then you have the American Staffordshire Terrier Rottweiler mix. Shadow. Shadow's got a good look going on, man.
No, yeah. Shadow's very friendly. Looks like it's just, hey, you going to finish that?
Yeah, Shadow's the kind of dog that's going to sit on the couch with you and watch football and beg every time you get up to get a snack. That's the look he's got, yeah. And then you've got Dash, a Pomeranian Pug mix. I'm thinking he's the manager. I don't think he's out there. He's not a position guy. Maybe a scat back, maybe kick return specialist. That might be his job.
Dash looks like he's seen some shit, though.
Yeah, he's had a rough night. You have Anza, Belgian Malinois and Boxer mix.
Yeah, awesome looking dog. 2 different colored eyes too, which is kind of crazy for both those breeds.
Yeah,
that's more of a shepherd trait than anything else.
And he looks like he's gonna, every time he looks at you, he's gonna give you that look like you don't love me. That look, you know.
It's got kind of a Samuel L. Jackson thing going on there, just like motherfucker.
And then you got Apollo. He's a Chihuahua Beagle mix. Archie, look at Archie, the Australian cattle dog. That's a good looking dog, man.
They're all good-looking dogs. How can you not love dogs?
Yeah, Arthur, the miniature American
Everybody
Shepherd.
that doesn't love dogs just started unfollowing us.
That's fine. I really, if you don't like dogs, I really don't mind if you don't follow us.
But there's so we can go through them all, but there's 172 dogs competing in this thing, or 132. There's over 100 dogs.
Yeah, and they're all
like they're all shelter dogs for the majority, I believe.
And that's one of the cool things is if you watch the Puppy Bowl, which my daughters and I used to watch it every year because, little girls and dogs, what are you going to do? But they give links to where you can adopt these dogs. So they're up for adoption and you can file, put an application and hopefully bring one of these great little dogs home, man. I mean,
cue the Sarah McLachlan. Actually, don't do that, Terry.
Yeah,
we might get copyright strike on that.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. But the Puppy Bowl, man. It's scrolling down. Did you see they've got the Siberian Husky, Bob Barker?
Yeah, there's so many. So there's so many funny names for me. I love the knockoff names versus just like this is Fred, this is Sonny, this is Jim, whatever. And then they get like Bark Purdy and yeah. Guy Ferrari.
Mr. Miraculous, that's a good one.
Yeah, they're so it's cute. It happens every year. It's super awesome. I mean, I love the fact that people capitalize off the Super Bowl, the big dance, for good and not evil.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because corporate America definitely is capitalizing for evil.
Oh, the Super Bowl is just, if nothing else, it is an ode to capitalism.
So after our next episode, we will actually add a link to all the Super Bowl commercials, because that's another big thing. A lot of companies pay a gazillion dollars for a 30-second spot during the Super Bowl.
Our mutual UK friend Simon Wells last year was commenting on watching the commercials, and he said, so how much they spend for some of these commercials? And I gave him a link to the CNN article that it was like $2.3 million for a 15-second spot.
It was ridiculous.
And Simon was like beside himself. You know how many blokes you can feed for that kind of money?
Well, the nice thing about the Super Bowl is now that everybody knows it's coming, a lot of companies go out and they make a big Super Bowl spot before the actual Super Bowl, like a 2-minute long commercial. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And they don't post their spot on the actual Super Bowl. They spend all that money on production instead. And there's some real good, like, long commercials. 2 minutes is a long time for a commercial.
It is. So they oftentimes cut those down, and we'll see them edited up, for the next 6-7 months. They won't just get run the one time. They'll get more use out of them than that.
Yeah, they'll take pieces out of it. It's like a TikTok clip.
But that is definitely where they like to showcase their advertising milieu and creativity.
Yeah, it's like a mini TV show almost. It's like how can we tell a story in 2 minutes?
So, anything else we need to cover here?
So we do need to cover the props.
Okay, let's get to the props.
All right, so I did come up with some fun props this week for all you guys that are enjoying the props. For all you couch surfers, that's what we're calling you now. We're calling you the couch surfers.
But it is,
or the surfers.
It is kind of fun to watch when
I only get off the couch for you guys, so
yeah, exactly. But it is kind of fun to watch when you think about it in the back of your head. You go, you know what? I'm supposed to be watching to see how many times they say the word fart.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I guess it depends on your situation. Like, what is your situation for Super Bowl? Are you just watching the game, or are you going to somebody's house, or like, are you doing a party? Like, what are you doing? I
used to have a friend. He's still doing the parties every year, but I quit going. It's a rough night if you go to somebody's party and you have to work the next day. Well, number one,
it's a rough one.
2 years ago, I don't know if you remember on Facebook, I started a campaign that the day after the Super Bowl should be a national holiday.
I fully supported it. I mean, like, let's go to change.org and make it happen.
Nobody's going to be working next Monday. There's going to be no work getting accomplished.
There's going to be no production whatsoever.
Yeah, everybody's going to be talking about the game and the commercials, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, Adam. I'm thinking there might be some hangovers involved.
No.
I know it. I know you're shocked. And that's another reason why I quit going to the Super Bowl parties. Here where I live,
I'm not going to be hungover.
Here where I live in Illinois, they have to publish where and when roadblocks are going to be set up, which if you know where they're at, you can avoid them.
Okay, so that's illegal here.
Yeah, no, they have to do it here, otherwise it's entrapment.
Yeah, so we're allowed to entrap. I think it's actually encouraged here. Like you could actually get it's a felony if you tell people where the roadblocks are.
Well, that's different. If you're driving down the road and see a cop off to the side, and he's shooting radar, and you start flashing your lights at the other drivers, you can get a ticket for that.
No, I'm talking about ride checks, like spot checks for DUIs. Same thing?
Seatbelt enforcement zones, yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, or safety enforcement zones, yeah. But it got to the point where, and I'm not condoning drinking and driving. Don't get me wrong. If you're drunk, don't get behind the wheel. We're not that irresponsible.
Even if you've had a couple drinks, just don't get behind the wheel. It's not worth it.
And it got to the point where I didn't want to take the risk of that. Because you got to get home. You got to get home, and you can't go to a Super Bowl party at your friend's house and turn down his. Hey, look, I just picked up a cool IPA. You want to try this? You can't. It'd be rude. So I quit going out. Same thing on the night before Thanksgiving, which is a huge bar night here in America, and New Year's Eve. I don't go out those nights either. It's too much hassle. There's too much stupidity.
Too much work.
And there's too much risk of somebody else being dumber than me on the road.
There's too much planning involved.
It is.
To go have a good time. So I do a Super Bowl party here. I've done one ever since post-pandemic. I would generally go out and do a party, go to different parties every year. Then pandemic lockdowns happened.
Uh-huh.
And I had to watch a pandemic Super Bowl, Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Kansas City Chiefs, coincidentally. It was interesting. First time we'd actually seen fans in the stands that entire season.
Right. And that's why, I don't know if you're aware of this. You probably noticed it more this season than you had in the past, this season and last season. They're cracking down on the taunting stuff. When there was nobody in the stadiums and the officials actually heard everything that the players were saying to each other, the league became aware of the amount of skullduggery going on between the whistles, not after not during.
Yeah,
the whistle.
a lot of trash talk.
Yeah, and so the officiating crews took offense to some of the stuff being said, and that's why they're cracking down on it now. Was because of that.
Yeah, so after watching that Super Bowl, I decided the last 3 years I've done a Super Bowl party, and I'm going to continue to do it. And there's only like one person that ever shows up that actually is into football. The rest of my friends are just here to be supportive. This is why we're doing this episode of like it's almost like a Super Bowl for dummies. They just come for the food. They enjoy the food.
So
they come for a couple drinks and then they go home.
So what do you put out for food? Like here in the States, traditional, it's like you know something like tacos or sloppy joes or chili or something like that. You know.
So
pizza.
I'm a big foodie, so I do a lot of food stuff. Every year it's something different. This year, I came across a giant pork shoulder, so I'm going to do. It's going to be like a 2-day preparation of smoking and then sous videing the pork shoulder to make a pulled pork.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And then I have a friend who's a dear friend of mine. She always asks for my chili. She likes my chili, and it's quite the effort to make it because that's another like day and a half worth of preparation.
Do you make your own chili sauce, or do you have a formula like canned stuff?
So I don't buy any sauce. So I do buy canned diced tomatoes for the bulk of it, but the seasoning I do all myself.
So yeah, and that can be quite a bit of work.
Yeah, the only reason I do the diced tomatoes is because I'm not going out to get fresh tomatoes and then go through all the extra hour of preparation.
Yeah, and mash them up, and yeah.
So I get unseasoned, unsalted, so no sodium in the can sort of deal, because a lot of that stuff that canned stuff is they use a lot of salt for preservation.
Now, do you put a little sugar in your sauce so you cut down on the acidity at all, or? So
I have a nice little balance. I use brown sugar, and I also use honey, but on the flip side of it, there's some hot peppers, jalapeno peppers, hot sauces.
See, hot is one thing, heartburn's another.
Yeah, so this is I don't. It's got a tang to it, but it's not one of these chilies that is. Hey, let's see how many taste buds I can burn off your tongue. It's got to have balance.
So more Mex, less Tex.
So yeah, we use things like brown sugar and honey to kind of balance the acidity.
Yeah, you got to put a little sugar in the mix. Otherwise, the tomato sauce just kills you. It just kills you.
But that's the only secret I'll give you about the rest of the stuff. I'm not gonna broadcast. People will be like, "Oh, I got your chili recipe. Now I don't have to come to your Super Bowl party anymore."
Same thing with pizza joints. You can tell a pizza joint if you have heartburn afterwards. You're like, they didn't put any sugar in their sauce.
Yeah, they didn't ding it down a little bit.
You got to cut it down a little bit.
Get that heartburn. All right, so so I have a party every year, and friends that don't even like football, they just come because they're like, "Hey,
Adam likes
football, and we like Adam." So I mean, I take the support from friends however you can get it. So hey, they're coming to enjoy something that you like.
So we got one of the props out. What was the other prop?
All right, so I've got a bunch of props on this. I mean, because it's Super Bowl, I'll throw them out there. I've got San Francisco is going to win the coin toss.
That's always a fun one, yeah.
Got to throw the coin toss because we actually get to see the coin toss every Super Bowl.
And they usually have some celebrity guest captains.
It's some captains or coaches or whatever. I think we're going to see like Chiefs alumni at the, like Alex Smith or something like that. I don't know.
So see, when this happens and you bring out Joe Montana, does he stand with the Niners or with the Chiefs?
Whoa, that's a good question. Wow, I forgot about that. Yeah, the Niners traded Joe away to the Chiefs, didn't they?
Yeah.
At the end of his career.
Yeah, and
it's always at the end of your career they'd send you out to pasture.
Yeah, but he got the Chiefs to within 7 points of making the Super Bowl for the Chiefs, though. I mean,
I think both teams have got to love Joe, right?
Right. Yeah.
The next one I have is that the team that does win the coin toss. So in the event that San Francisco doesn't win the coin toss, the team that does win the coin toss will defer.
Okay, that's fair.
We've seen them take the ball and say, we want the ball first, but I believe that the team that wins the coin toss will defer.
Yeah, and the football for dummies thing. Boys and girls, the reason why they do defer and don't want the ball is the way the clock works. Quite often, you'll have the last possession for the half and the first possession in the next half, and if your offense is clicking, you'll have a chance to put up 2 unanswered touchdowns on your opponents. That's why teams often defer. Nobody
figured that out until Belichick kept doing it over and over and over, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like they've been playing football for how long? And then Belichick's like, yeah, I don't want the ball. And everybody would take the ball originally. And then Belichick was like, I don't want the ball. And he would double up
and
points.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, now nobody wants the ball.
Yeah. Now, if you can go up 14 points on your opponent, the defense pins their ears back and it gets ugly quick. So that's a good one.
So that one's always interesting. I mean, the team that wins the coin toss will defer. I've got Chiefs to score first.
That's fair.
It may just be a field goal, but I believe they're going to score first.
That's fair.
I've watched San Francisco through these playoffs, and they're a slow starter.
They are.
So I think the Chiefs they both have plans, but the Chiefs know what they want to do, and they want to go drive down the field and get points. San Francisco may get the ball first, but I believe the Chiefs it'll be a 3-and-out, whatever. Chiefs are going to stop them. The defense is too good. Plus they're playing the feel me out game for the first couple plays of the game. First 15, 20 plays of the game, they're feeling everything out. So I believe Chiefs are going to score first. I have to throw it out there because it's just some fun that we do it every week, but how many times are we going to see Tay-Tay?
And is she going to be able to make it? Because she's performing.
She will make it.
She's performing in Tokyo this week, boys and girls.
They've confirmed that people have done the math. There's big conspiracy theories with people with pins in the board with thread, going if Tay-Tay does this, and she meets with her fans. She's still got I
had to unfollow a couple of people this week, and I'll refollow them after the election.
After?
Not the Super Bowl, the election. They believe that Taylor and Travis are Democratic plots, and they're going to come out and invite, they're going to support Biden openly during the post Super Bowl press conference, and it's going to swing the election. And I was like, okay, the level of crazy you've reached, I can no longer follow you. You're going in a dark place I can't be part of. I've got to unfollow you until after November because you're crazy already.
So I don't want to get political on this show ever. I believe politics divide people.
I do too.
And there's no reason for it. We're all people. We all have our own beliefs and everything, and we should respect each other's ground.
Here's my position. If you think either party gives a fuck about you, you're completely insane.
Yeah, the fact that you only get 2 choices versus the number of people that are on this planet to lead you. That's bullshit. That's bullshit to me.
Yeah,
but if that's another fact for the whole 2020 2024 thing.
Yeah, if you think somebody with an R or a D behind their name cares about you because of the R or the D, you're doing it wrong, and I don't want to talk to you.
So in 2020, we had Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl, same as 2024. It was a leap year in 2020, same as 2024.
Right.
We might get Biden versus Trump in 2024 like we did in 2020.
It's looking like that's going to be the case, yeah.
Like this is just a repeat of 2020. So as long as we don't get a pandemic again, I think we're good.
Right. The pandemic did us all in. So what's the next?
Because enough of us, like, that's something we all can agree on. We don't need another one of those.
Yeah. What's the next prop?
So the Tay sightings. Sorry, we never actually did the line on it. Just because we're having fun with it, we're going to see her a lot. Is she going to make it? Yeah, she's totally going to make it.
I'm going to say 6.5. Is that your line?
I went 7.5.
7.5. Oh, I was closest.
Yeah, I had to go 7.5. I thought 6.5 may be a little light, considering this is the last game of the season. It's CBS. Tony Romo will not talk about her.
No, but they had a moment during the AFC Championship celebration on the field. So
she threw some shade at him in a nice way.
She really did, and it was really kind of funny and cute at the same time.
The last prop I have is we know somebody's going to win this game. A Super Bowl's never ended in a tie. What color is the Gatorade bath going to be?
I'm going traditional yellow.
Oh, very nice. So Uncle Terry's got yellow. I'm throwing a loophole in here. Okay. So the most popular Gatorade color that's sold on the shelves,
purple,
is blue.
Oh, the blue. Okay, yeah.
All right. The Super Bowl logo was red and purple. So I'm going with a blue/purple for the Gatorade bath. So it could be either of those two because they're very similar.
They are.
They're very similar in color.
And the lighting could change it.
The lighting could change what it could be blue and it looks purple. So I'm going to go with blue/purple. So one of those colors, depending on what your eyes see.
And that was all of the props.
And that is all the props. And then, of course, we did the halftime show props when we talked about halftime.
I'm a
Usher.
I'm a little surprised you didn't come up with the prop of how many times are Tony and Jim going to pronounce love for one another.
So that's something that you can keep track of if you want to.
I'm not.
I know here it's going to be loud and busy, and I'm not going to be listening to the commentators much.
Right.
So a lot of the stuff is I'm probably going to rewatch the game on Monday just to check the props because there's going to be a lot of things going on.
I'll have to go to one of the betting sites and see if there's a stat on how many defensive players Romo knows besides the guys who like.
Yeah, you had a couple props that you threw at me during the week that I forgot about.
Like Bosa. How many people are going to know Bosa? Once you get past Bosa, does he know like cornerbacks? And because this year he's really been bad about that with his names. He's got somebody in his ear. The person in his ear should be telling him what the name of these players. But anyway.
Yeah, the production crew in the truck should be like all over it and just feeding him information constantly. So you did send me a couple props this week, and you said Romo recognizing a defensive player after top 3 skill guys. So like 2.5 is your ranked on that. And then the number of times they say, I love you. That one kills me because the fact that they say it
so much. It's
like I get that it's like, a very brave new world, but like we're watching football, guys. Like,
one of the things we might be able to do a show about it later on once the networks start announcing these things. There's going to be some changes in some booths this year. We've already talked about
absolutely.
And so do you put Brady with the number 1 guy? Does he get Kevin Harlan, or do you go out and get a new guy to be with Brady? I mean, because that's going to be the Fox number 1 team is whoever Tom Brady's with.
I think you have to get a guy that complements Tom, and I don't think Kevin Burkhardt's the guy. I think Kevin and Greg
are great together.
Are great together, and I don't want to get into it in this episode because I could go on for a half hour about how great of a broadcasting team those guys are.
In my perfect world, Harlan and Olsen go to Amazon, and Al Michael comes and does games with
Burkhardt and Olsen.
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely, I like that. I just like the simplicity of their broadcast. And then if you've never watched a football game before, they make you understand it.
Yeah, and then you bring in Al Michaels from Amazon to be the number 1 guy with Tom Brady.
I don't know about that, but we could talk about that in another episode because I mean, I'm not a fan of Al anymore.
Two huge egos in one booth, and I'd watch it just to watch how many times they're going to try and show up each other.
Just to watch them butt heads.
Yeah,
lock horns.
Yeah. How many times are going to be at loggerheads over something? You know.
Al might get all angry though. He's getting to that grumpy old man stage,
he
and
really
then
is.
and Tom's all about his he's all about his on-air persona. He never missteps.
No, never missteps. And Al is getting to the point where he's going to say, "Get off my grass," but they can't because they're playing on the grass.
Get off my lawn. Get off my lawn, Tom. You cut 1 inch farther over today.
Yeah.
That's my area.
Poor Tom. Poor Tom. All right, that was the show for this week, boys and girls.
Yeah, we will be back next week with the results of Super Bowl 58, and we hope you enjoyed this show. If you want to check us out, we've got a Book of Faces page, straight off the couch. You can catch me on Twitter, on the X, at Adam Off the Couch. Where are you, Terry?
You can find me on X at TREMUP, at TREMUP. If you want to go so far as to shoot us an email, shoot it to me, Terry at PositiveSpinMusic.com, Terry at PositiveSpinMusic.com.
Or we could just go straight off the couch podcast at gmail.com. You have options.
Yeah.
We'll throw this one. We have a link tree out there too where you can catch all our podcasts. I think we're on like 13 or 14 different platforms right now. But if you're listening to this, you've already got your podcast platform picked.
Absolutely. So for my broadcast partner, Adam, once again, I loved spending Sunday afternoon with you. I'm not going to say I love you because I'm not Jim Nance.
I love you, man.
For the boys and girls, thanks for joining us. Adam, it's a pleasure. Be safe. God bless. Bye-bye, everybody.
Enjoy the Super Bowl.